punters. Welcome back to another episode of Smash's Tales. And I do have a story for you today. Something I was doing this morning triggered my memory a bit of one of my favourite guys. They all were really, but one of my guys I used to work with, going back a long time, back in North Queensland, there was a club I worked in, and I run the security there. I had about 6 guys working with me, and I was down one guy, and I needed him. I needed that strong bloke in the group, and actually it was probably about 2 guys down, but one guy would have cut it. But the employment agency, people were getting their crowd control licences, and they were sending them straight to me. One night with old Smasher and the boys, and they were gone. And things were, it wasn't going. We weren't going good. We needed that guy. We'd lost our big guy. He'd moved away, and we needed a big guy that knew what he was doing. So anyway, my boss, who was also a good mate of mine, he said to me, "He'll come, mate. He'll be there. The ground will rumble, and he'll be walking up the stairs, and there he'll be." Anyway, that didn't happen, and we were struggling. And the manager was an absolute prick. Only way to describe him, the venue manager. He was an absolute prick of a bloke. Anyway, hope he works out who he is. I'll tell him to his face any day. What happened was, usual night, the boys I had were good. We were managing just. There was a big fight on the balcony. We had bloody pill tables out there, pill cues, pill balls. Stupidest idea in the world when there's that much alcohol and God knows what else involved. But anyway, there it was. Big fight, apparently. Went out there, there's 2 guys unconscious. Big guy with a broken nose, or looked broken to me. Straight away I worked out he'd been hit across the nose, across the bridge of the nose with a pill cue, and the pill cue was broken. Anyhow, 2 guys were taken outside by security, gently and everything, and that. They were pretty bad. They were pretty well knocked around. Looked like not with the pill cue, just been hit with fists or something. And I've quickly worked it out that one of them's hit the big guy with the pill cue, but it hasn't done the job they wanted. He's cleaned them both up. Then suddenly realised how hurt he was, and he was not in a good way. But why I know this is because I've had similar done to me. By that stage, probably 15, 20 years of it. 15 years, let's say. I wasn't that old at that stage. Anyway, look, again, I'm getting off track. This fellow, I checked he was okay and all that, and the other guys would have got an ambulance probably for those blokes. I think they might have been all right, they were arseholes, they were coming to, and that type seems to usually recover quickly. But I knew what had happened, and he kind of told me again, and it verified what I was thinking. But I was checking he was all right. I thought the nose is going to need to be set or something. Mind you, I never got mine fixed ever, after the first couple of times, as you can see. But he told me that he'd come in looking for work. He said, "I do this type of work." He was a bit groggy and that, but he started to feel better. And I think we did first aid for his nose and that too, and that. Didn't want an ambulance or anything. And I said, "Well, you've come in looking for this sort of work, mate. You've just been cracked with a pill cue across the nose and cleaned up 2 blokes. You're the guy I'm looking for." and he said, "Really? I saw you before. I could tell you're in charge, and you look too busy for me to ask." And I said, "Well, you don't have to ask now, mate. You got a job." And it went right, and I thought to myself, well, hopefully that'll all follow up. He'll follow up on it. I told him about where the office was, come see us, boxing gym above it, all this stuff. And as I'm going, one of the other security guys was there actually, giving him a bit of first aid on his nose. And as I'm leaving, the manager that I told you about, the real prick, he goes to me, "Oh, you're right to leave that guy alone with him?" And I said, "Mate, he's gonna be working here as of next weekend, so I think you're going to have to learn to trust him. And that guy's face was just like, but that's the thing, my boss, the mate, who was my mate, that was also the ops manager, he used to put me in charge, and he'd say, like, if you like someone, you hire them, simple as that, because he knew I had a good feel for it and I was a good judge of character and that. So there you go, that's the story behind that fella. So I've kept a little memento from that occasion and to remember my good friend by, and I still have it there. But so I keep it, and I saw it today, and I remembered and had a bit of a chuckle about it all. Yeah, and I wondered sometimes if he knows I actually kept the offending pool cue, what was left of it. Yeah, cleaned it up, sanded off the end of it, and it makes a nice little tool if you need to dig out to get anything. Anyway, that's the story behind that fellow. I had a nickname for him, but I'm not even going to use nicknames on here. So yeah, he was a great bloke, and had my back, and mate, as far as I knew when I left Cairns, he was still working there as a bouncer. So yeah, he was probably my best guy, saved my neck more times than I can remember, and that's the story behind that fella. All right guys, I will catch you later. Thanks for following. Thank you to some of my supporters have been extra supportive, so thank you for that. Love you guys, bye.